Lot Pod is kindly sponsored by Fast Signs. Fast Signs are an established family-run business who've been providing businesses around Leeds and West Yorkshire with effective signs and graphics for almost 30 years. Fast Signs are passionate about helping customers make a statement with signs that are eye-catching, effective and delivered fast.
How do you think Brodie Croft looked today?
Thought he looked like Brodie Croft, but in a better coloured jersey.
Leeds has won back-to-back rugby league titles. The golden generation finally has its golden fleece. No England game, it seems, is complete without a Ryan Hall try. Jamie Peacock.
Kevin Sinfield.
Rob Burrow.
Jamie Jones Buchanan for Leeds.
It's one of the most popular beards in rugby league.
There aren't many in Super League that can do that.
We just want to be a great friend, and if we can all try and be a bit of a better friend from time to time, I think we have a bit of a better place to live in.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17A podcast, kindly sponsored by Fast Signs. It's now time for another weekly roundup. There's no Reese this week, but I have got two brand new, smiley, shiny newbies with me in Dan and Adam. How are you, chaps?
Evening.
Yep, all good. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic to have you on. It's always nice to see some new faces rather than Duncan, Laurie and Reese's ugly mugs, which I'm sure they're going to text me now saying, why are you doing that to me? Anyway, weekly roundup time. But before we delve into the club news and looking ahead towards the London game, you are two newbies, so I'll start with Dan if I can. Dan, just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the Rhinos, etc.
I was born and brought up in Northampton, so not particular rugby league country.
Yeah.
And yeah, rugby union wasn't my thing. Hated it.
You can blame him.
Yeah. And just remember going to my dad's every other weekend and it being on the telly. And then as I grew into a teenager, I started falling in love with it again. And my dad's from Leeds and is a Leeds United and Rhinos fan. So
he's a good man.
It's kind of come from there as well, really.
Oh, brilliant. Adam, same question to yourself. How did you fall in love with the Rhinos?
Yeah, as I'm sure you'll very quickly pick up on the accent.
It is a beautiful accent.
Well, some people say that. I don't think it is. Born and bred in Belfast. I've always grew up following football. Unfortunately, Leeds United.
That is unfortunate.
When I came across rugby league, I just decided to stick with Leeds, and at a time it was going well. Maybe not so much the last few years.
You want to change your mind?
Yeah, but, ups and downs.
Yes, exactly. I'll just jump into the club news before we look ahead towards the men's Leeds versus London game. Unfortunately, the netball side lost 64 points to 56 to Loughborough. I think that game was at Leeds Arena, so that wasn't impressive to the fact that they're playing there and the attendance and things. The under-16s absolutely hammered Bradford 68-6, so I think that's their first win of the year, if memory serves me right. And the reserves next game is on Saturday at 5 o'clock against London. Those are the only notes I've got because prior to this recording, as I was saying to Dan, I lost all the other club news notes. So, onto the men's side. I do apologise to all the other sides. The 21-man squad has been announced for Leeds versus London. Maybe one shock inclusion there being Ash Hanley. And then we also have 7 younger quote-unquote academy players in there in Jackson Field, Leon Ruan, Alfie Edgell, Tom Nicholson-Watton, Ned McCormack, Ben Littlewood and Riley Lum. I'll start with Dan if I can. Just on Ash Hanley, Dan, we've kind of spoke about it on the match review panel for the whole game, but Rowan said that he's still recovering from this rib injury and it's kind of day-by-day monitoring. We are playing London, Dan. We are going to win. By how many points, we're not quite sure. Is this a game, Dan, that you would risk Ash Hanley in, or do you think it's a game where we could potentially say to Ned McCormack, to obviously Riley Nunn's going to play, but to one of the other younger centre/wingers, there you go. This is a game for you. We're going to win regardless of playing Ash Hanley or not.
I think if it wasn't for the rest of the injuries across the back line, I think he definitely wouldn't play. I don't think he'd be even in the 21-man squad.
Yeah.
I think just because of no Fussy, no Momorowski, and no Hanley, I think Rowan almost feels like he has. If there's any chance of him being fit, he's going to have to play because otherwise it's a very young back line there. I did a quick my 17 before I knew that Hanley was going to be in the 21, and I did one of Rowan, what I thought Rowan would do, and one of what I'd do, and yeah, it's a very, very young line. I just think Hanley will play because of the experience he'll bring if he can.
Yeah.
But I think that's far too much of a risk going forward. That's my only concern.
Adam, how do you see it? Do you think it's worth Hanley playing, or do you think it's time for the kid? How do you see it, mate?
I think it's probably a game you can afford not to risk Hanley as much as there is other injuries. It's still a game you should be winning. No disrespect to London. It's a game you should be winning comfortably, whether you're missing players or not. We have great academy kids coming through. Riley Lum showed it last week. Ned McCormick hasn't got a chance, even though he probably should have. Is this the week that he gets brought into the team? Hopefully. But I just wouldn't risk Ash.
I agree, and I think the only reason they've kind of put him into the squad is I think Dan's hit the nail on the head in that it would be a younger backline, but I do think that we can have a younger backline. I'm kind of writing London off.
Any game this season, it's London that is the game you can do it, but
yes,
under the pressure that Rowan's on as well is.
You make a good point. He's going to want every single experienced player out there because I know I keep saying that we are going to win this game, and I've said it so many times now. I feel like I'm saying it too many times. But if we're to lose this game, he will be fired. So it's almost as if he's saying everyone that's fit, quote unquote, experienced player, get your ass out there to win this game. Yeah, agreed. So there are 7 younger players in this squad, which excites me. I know it's never good that we're down and got 7 academy players in, but I'm always an advocate, I'm sure you both are as well, for these younger players. Another one that's in the side is Tom Nicholson-Wotton, Adam. He's been in and out the squad and he's played a game or two. How have you felt Tom's minutes have been handled, Adam? And do you agree with the minutes he's got? Do you think he should be playing more?
For little Tom, I think he definitely should be playing more.
I agree.
I think we've all slowly started to see enough of Sangare. I think it's maybe time for one of the young ones to take over and start getting meaningful minutes. Otherwise, you could end up losing them the same way we have with others who may not be named.
Well done. You can come back. Dan, do you agree? Do you think Tom Nicholson-Wotton deserves more game time in this Rhinos side currently?
Yes, I think it's and everything that needs to be said with regards to what Sangare brings and doesn't bring, and what Tom does and doesn't bring, has been said enough. And I just think by fielding the kids, it'd probably give him Rowan a bit more leeway as well. I think people would be giving him a little bit more if he was playing the kids, because that's what we want to see. I think it's very much because he's sticking to his guns with these bigger, quote, experienced players. I think that also doesn't help Rowan.
I agree. I think the younger players get a bit more leeway because they are younger. And then the fans kind of, as we said,
they're one of ours, and that's what
exactly. And we want to see them do well. It's just a bit more difficult to be, I guess, to be slightly sympathetic to a marquee overseas kind of, you expect absolute gold dust from. Another young player that's there's been a lot of clamour for, particularly on our live stream from the Hull review. You may have heard, but it's Jack Sinfield. And I saw on X today that Jeff Burrow, Rob's dad, tweeted, messaged that it's now time for Jack Sinfield. Dan, how have you? We'll start with Matt Frawley again. Poor Matt Frawley. Do you feel Matt's form is worth dropping, or do you think this London game's a game he can build his confidence up? Just on Matt Frawley first, Dan. How do you feel in terms of Matt and his current form?
He's not. The signing and how it started, I saw him very much as the safe pair of hands, just doing the basics, allowing Croft to free up Croft. And I don't know, it just seems to be the kick-outs on the full and the incident that you flagged up, especially, and I noticed it after listening to it more than I noticed it on the day when I can't remember who it was, but the kick to the restart from Hull after the try, and he got in the way of whoever it was, and he started that Edgel, that was it, and he verbaled him, and I don't know, he just seems to not quite be what I was expecting from him. And if we'd not been in this form, I think he sits it out and Jack plays. But with the whole team needing confidence, Matt needing confidence, I think he needs to play. It's the same as the Hanley.
Yeah, Rowan's gonna.
I think we're in a corner that it's not. I think he's very much backed into a corner with him at the minute.
How have you seen Matt Frawley's form, Adam? And do you think this is a game what Frawley needs for his confidence, or would you drop him for this one?
I probably would drop him, but I think the issue is it's Rowan's man. He's certainly not poor Matt Frawley, as much as we may attack him on this, because he's getting paid well, but he's just not earning it at the minute. I think it's especially in the kicking game. You know, Brodie Croft has 6 assists with the boot alone.
Yeah.
Why is he not kicking more? I think Sinfield has the edge in the kicking game that we've seen before, and he just seems to have more control. We obviously haven't seen it this year, but in the games that he did play last year, he just looked more in control of the backline than what Frawley has this year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think it was you said. It was you said, Eddie, on the review show, if Jack pots that 40-20 attempt out on the full, we applaud him and say, oh, he's giving it a go.
What an attempt.
Yeah. Oh, fair play for him attempting it. But because it's Frawley, because it's that experience, we expect it, him to nail it more.
I think, we're on Jack Sinfield now. I think, and I've said this loads, and I do think there are Jack Sinfield games, as there are other younger where you can kind of put players in. But I do agree. I think Dan's kind of twisted my thinking here in that I think Rowan's going to put any available experienced player forward. Whether that's right or wrong, we'll see, because the result will tell us. We are going to win, as I keep saying. But now would be the game for me for Jack Sinfield. It would, me personally, I'd say this is. I think you just pinpoint the year and say the cup game. If you fucking hell, God forbid, we do get a lower league side at some point, that's a Jack Sinfield game. That's a Max Simpson game, and then you kind of bleed them in. But I do think Rowan's going to go with. I think he's going to be looking at Matt Frawley in particular and kind of say, yeah, this guy needs form. He needs a game where he's potentially going to get a couple of assists, potentially going to score, and then. Off the back of that, we're going to Catalan and Saints. And I do see that side being a good idea. But then, as I keep saying, I'm looking at Jack Sinfield thinking, if this isn't a Jack Sinfield game, what is? What it would be now?
Yeah, is there any other games in this league that's going to be a Sinfield game?
Particularly with the form we're in, we need to be. It is a difficult predicament for Rowan to be in, and I don't envy him, but this to me would be a Jack Sinfield game. We'll have to talk about the amazing, and he is now, Riley Lum. He's going to start this game. Everyone knows that. That's not up for debate. But just in terms of, we know Fussy 2 was out a while, Dan. with another injury, and Riley's
Shocker.
gonna yeah, exactly, gonna take this chance. What did you make of his debut, Dan? And do you think he's gonna perform up to that standard again against London? Because I'm expecting him to at least score 5 tries.
Yeah, I was going to say at least a hat trick this week. No, he played well. I thought the first try, especially, I thought showed his intelligence as well as his skill level. And then the second try, stealing it in front of Momorowski just out of pure pace more than because Momorowski had that and he suddenly just appeared from nowhere. Yeah, and for me, he starts, and for me, if I know he's not, but if Fusatu is only a couple of weeks away, I wouldn't see Fusatu getting ahead of him. I very much as like McDonnell last year. Once you have the shirt, you've got to do something to lose it, and Lum certainly didn't show that on Sunday.
Do you agree, Adam? Do you think this is Riley Lum's position to lose now, rather than? Do you think he's won it and it's his now until the dawn of time?
Looks that way. I mean, it's hard to say that after that debut, we don't want to put too much expectation on a kid, but there's no one else to do the job now. He's going to have to step up. He's going to have to do the job, and he certainly did it last week. Today is tomorrow night. Yeah,
tomorrow. Yeah.
Whenever, where it's a perfect opportunity, especially against London. Again, no disrespect, but it's a perfect opportunity for him to continue that run of form, and eventually he will hopefully keep Roberts out of the team too.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But I mean, for him to get these are the 2 perfect games for Riley. Play Hull, score 2, go to London, score loads more. He seems like a really confident lad anyway, with how what Rowan was saying and what John Baston said about him, about his it seems a bit like that Harry Newman mold of just being really confident in himself and perhaps having that bit of arrogance that is required in sport from sports stars. 2 tries at Hull, a couple of tries at London, going into that Catalan game, his confidence is going to be absolutely sky high. And even in Catalan away, it's hard for any side at any point of the year. But to have a young man like Riley with his confidence flying, would you prefer that kind of youngster, Dan, with confidence and form, or would you prefer Fusatu? I know it's not going to happen anytime soon, on an experienced player dropping in. I guess this is the flip side argument to the flawless infield thing.
Yeah, that youthful, I'm young, I'm confident, I don't care kind of, I can take on the world. That Harry Newman, when he broke through.
Yeah.
I think looking ahead to the Catalan game, and I know that's a risky overlooking London, but I think someone like Lum on the wing there, where he's not been confidence hasn't been damaged like Roberts, because realistically, if Hanley's gets through tomorrow night, he'll be on one wing, and then it's Lum or Roberts on the right. And I think Roberts, I think because that our first half against the last home game, where Momorowski was alongside Roberts, constantly talking to him, because we know that happens, because Hanley said that's what Momorowski does. I think Roberts showed that he can do a job. I'm not saying he's a well-beat, he can do a job, but his confidence has been severely damaged. Yeah. So I think someone going there full of confidence and not really experienced anything bad, I think is the best way to go on that one.
Do you agree, Adam?
Yeah, I think also on this, as you mentioned, is arrogance or confidence as it may be. He's coming up against people that, yes, he may know, but players he hasn't played against. He's also thinking, well, you haven't played against me, so you have to deal with me. I'm not having to deal with you. You come deal with me, and you can see what I'm made of. And that's exactly what he looks like. He scored the 2 tries last week, and it was as if he was like, right, all right, it's on the next one.
Yeah, next game, a few more tries. We kind of touched on Paul Momirovski there, and he has rolled his ankle. We're not quite sure how bad of an injury it is, but we are going to find that out. But he's going to be a big loss, Adam, for the next game, or however. Because what have you made of his debut season for the Rhinos, Momirovski?
I think he's been pretty good so far. We've probably expected a bit more from him, but when you've got quite a poor performance coming from most of the team, it's hard for him to try and play off that. He's maybe trying to lift others when you're not expecting that from a new player coming in. But I do think there has been some moments of brilliance from him.
Yeah,
a bit of softness in some areas of defence at times. Maybe a few soft tries we've given away and coming down his side sometimes, but it's gonna help change his game, adjusting to the Super League, and having somebody on his side, preferably Hanley, week in, week out, will help with that too. But when that's constantly changing, that doesn't help things.
What have you made of Momirovski's season, Dan?
I've liked him, as I said, with what Hanley said after the first couple of games with regards to how much he's talking, even to someone like Hanley. Then when we've had other people that I've not been overly keen when he's moved out onto
the wing,
the other side, and onto the wing, the other side or whatever. I think he's definitely the centre, but I've liked what he's done so far.
I think it's going to be a big loss, and hopefully it's not as bad as we fear.
And in a full confidence side, a fully fit side, I think he's could be very dangerous as well.
Yeah,
I think at the minute there's too many fires across the whole pitch that it's not. He's kind of not able to show his full. Yeah,
he's definitely one of the bigger names on the Rhinos team sheet. Another bigger name who's now going to be probably playing at centre is Rhys Martin. Do you feel, Adam, when we take Rhys out the back row and he drops in at centre, do you feel the Rhinos lose a bit, or do you think Rhys is just as good at centre as he is in that back row?
I'm trying to remember what the meters were, but I'm sure Statman Rhys will correct me. Did Rhys not have something like 211 meters last week?
Yeah.
He moved at the centre and he had the best most meters all season. So it definitely adds to the game because you've got somebody that's willing to just pick the ball up and go and just drive with it. And he'll take 2, 3, 4 defenders to eventually stop him, bring him down. So I do think, I suppose it keeps Sangari in the team. I'd rather him in the pack and keeps him out of it. But when you've that many injuries, there's not much else you can do but move Rhys into there.
Do you agree, Dan? Do you think we lose much with either side, with Rhys in the back row centre? Do you think it's much of a muchness?
I think it's much of a muchness, and it's just vital keeping him on the pitch, really.
Just play him wherever. Before.
Yeah. No, as Adam said, as Adam said, he offers the same for me from either. It's just how short and inexperienced we are then in the second row. That's the slight problem with moving Rhys back to centre, is then it leaves McDonnell, and then you move in Gudemond or someone from a prop, but I don't mind Gudemond in the second row, and or you move in someone like Sangare, and it's I think it's more the filling the hole than that he leaves, not what Rhys offers in each position.
Yeah, it's kind of, you can move Rhys, but then you've got to replace him.
Yeah.
And how you can replace Rhys Martin? Well, you can't. It's absolutely impossible.
And then it feels like we're moving 2 or 3 players, changing 2 or 3 players as opposed to just one.
Like for like.
Yeah, like for like. And I feel that's when you begin to get more issues.
And it can become more difficult off the back of that. Then, in terms of the 17, does we kind of do this on all these weekly roundups? Does the 17 pick itself? Do you both agree with that? Do you disagree with that? Do you think it's?
probably a bit more difficult with the injuries this week.
Oh, so what? How do you
I
see it,
mean,
Adam? How do you think?
I know what I would like to see, but
What
I
would
would
you
like to see
like?
isn't
Let's
going to
go to
happen. What I would like to see is not going to happen. We all want to see Sinfield, and we all know that's not going to happen. But I'm also trying to figure out a way of maybe moving somebody else. Does Edgel start at centre? He came in and filled in there last week. We all want to see McCormick play. Is it going to happen? Probably not.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot of us want to see Sangare out of the team. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Is Rowan going to go? No, probably not.
No chance. Dan, is it as simple starting 13 for you, or do you think Rowan will make a change or two?
I think it's simple enough to know what Rowan's going to do.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what most of us think should happen, but I think it's quite obvious what Rowan will do. My thing is looking at what he'll probably pick on the bench. Presumably, then we're going to run with one interchange till about the 70th minute, and then he'll bring the other three on. Because he doesn't like to bring, two interchanges, Lasone and Jared. But presumably, little Tom and whoever fills the extra spot, I'm assuming it might be Ruan or someone, he'll only bring them on for 10 minutes at a time anyway.
So. No. Leon Ruan only gets 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
He's strangleheld 7 minutes for the rest of his career. Leon, 7 minutes will come. Just to kind of wrap things up, thank you both. You've been absolutely fantastic. Predictions. Does anyone want to go first? Has anyone been a bit brash, as brash as me with their predictions?
I've done Leeds by 20, but it wouldn't surprise me London by 2.
Can you imagine the match review panel? If we lose this game,
I can just see another emergency pod, like the Wakefield game.
I'll talk about emergency pod if that happens.
Oh, it'll have to be. We'll have to film it on his phones outside the ground. That's how urgent. That's how urgent it'll have to be. So Leeds by 20 or London by 2. Adam, you got a prediction for us?
Unfortunately, I mean, I still think it's going to be a win, which is what we all want. But I don't think we're going to get the performance we want again. I also think we're going to fail to score 30 again. But
really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Imagine that.
At 26-12 is what I'm going for.
26-12. And Leeds.
I think I'm being generous with that.
Well, I'm going Leeds 62, London 2. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Dan. We will be back to review this London game. If you don't follow us on YouTube, please do subscribe to us on YouTube. You just search the Lot Pod. We're there. We've got to the 500 subscribers mark, and we're now making our way to 1,000 subs. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll be back to review the London game, where we will win by thousands. See you then.